trying to say. And then it's time to have those difficult decisions. So have a talk with yourself, right? So literally, self, what's stressing me out right now? What's going on? What can I afford to not do? Or what do I need to give up? Or what do I need to switch around? I'm going to walk you through how you can have that conversation with yourself. But really, you need to have those conversations, right? And then once you've talked to yourself about it, talk to your partner if you have one, your family if you have any, friends, peers, people in the department. You may need to reach out and ask for professional help or personal help or paid help. Some examples would be professional help is, and I guess before I say this, I will acknowledge my privilege in that I have a full-time income. I have a partner at home also. So, but HEB curbside. If I don't have to go to the grocery store, if I can go pick up my groceries, that saves me a whole lot of time. Professional help might also, I'm sorry, that was paid help. Professional help might look like a counselor. Do you need to come in and sit and talk with one of us to kind of figure out some of these things? Personal help. Do you just need your roommate or your partner to just pick up a little bit more so you can have time to study on Sunday? Right. So just have these difficult conversations. Maybe it's that you can't, spend some of that time, even though you'd want to, attending all the family events or doing all of those things. And some of those will depend, and I can't make a blanket statement that's going to work for everybody. That's why you need to have that conversation with yourself first. And so I'm going to walk you through, because now you can start identifying. Let's figure out what's going on. Okay. Is it actually a problem, or is it just a challenge? Okay. Because grad school is supposed to be challenging, right? It's very cliche, but if it was easy, everybody would do it. Okay. So it's supposed to be a little challenging, but let's try to figure out how you have problems and when you might need to intervene. And I'm going to show you my counselor cheat sheet on the next slide. And this is really what I go through with clients. Okay, so while we're going through multiple sessions, this is what I try to figure out. Okay, sometimes I can get through it in a session, sometimes it takes me a couple of sessions because I got to do some of the other stuff first. But really, what is stressful? What is impactful to me right now? Once you can name that, then you can figure out, is this a challenge, or is this a problem? Is this interfering negatively? What are my emotions to this? We're going to talk more about that in a second. And then how can I realistically address it? There are some things that we just have to do in graduate school, right? We just have to do a lot of reading, writing, labs, whatever it is that your degree plan is in, your program is in. There's some things that we have to do, but what can we realistically do to address it? We could solve a lot of problems if I started dropping money in the room or started giving everybody an extra 10 hours of sleep a week, right? But we can't do that. So what can we realistically do? So I want to walk you through a real scenario here, okay? And so when I wrote this, I kind of thought, well, let me just give them the examples of how I would do it. The notes here. But then I thought, you know what, y'all probably want an example. And so I'm going to pick an example from me, because I don't mind sharing. And maybe some of y'all will relate, and if not, then this is just me. But really what I'm struggling with, and some of my peers are, is there's not enough time to read all the assigned readings, much less all the recommended readings. Okay. And so is this a challenge or is this a problem? So I just picked 2 classes. In advanced quantitative research design, I'm weak. This is a problem, right? I'm always emailing professors like, can you give me another example? Can I come to your office? But in advanced counseling strategies, for instance, for me, it's a challenge, but it's not a problem. Okay. And so I might be able to just take out that, just not even worry about that. But I wanted you all to see the path of what I would do to kind of answer all the questions. So what are my emotions to this? In quant, just overwhelmed. How will I ever complete my dissertation if I can't grasp what I'm doing right now? Oh my goodness, holy moly, oh my gosh. But in strategies, maybe I'm just frustrated. So really the problem here for me that I need to address, and for some of my peers, is that it's the quant thing, okay? And so then how do I realistically address it? this is where you probably need to get some extra input. You might need to talk to a professor about how you're going to do this, maybe talk to a peer, maybe you talk to a GA, it would depend, right? So you might need some extra input here. But in quant, I got to do all the reading. Okay, that means I got to make that time somewhere. But I can realistically ask my professor, what can I skim versus what do I really need to read in the recommended? What do you suggest would really help me nail this down, right? Because that would help me save a lot of time and that would reduce my stress, and then I could feel better and I could know that I am reading what I need to read. And then for strategies, I made a plan. I'm going to read what I don't know, skim what else is required, and I'm going to skip the recommended. I'm not saying this is going to work for every single program, every single scenario, but I wanted to show y'all really how I would break it down with you. If I was in a session with you, or if I was mentoring you, or if I was working with you, this is how I would break it down. What's stressful about it? Is it really a challenge, or is it just a problem? Do you just need to vent about it, or is it something we got to fix? What are my emotions so I know how to prioritize it? And then how do I realistically address it? Okay. So any particular questions yet, Sophia, that you think I need to stop and answer? Are we okay for the end? I guess
So for right now, we have a lot of comments, which are great.
Okay.
I know, yeah, they're good, but I think the questions we probably wait till the end, the one so far.
Okay, cool, thank you. All right. So before we move to step 2. So you don't know what you don't know in graduate school. So in case you don't know this already, no one is here to make you fail, okay? Challenging, sure, right? Graduate school is challenging, but failing you intentionally, it's probably not. If someone's offering you help, if someone is offering you help, take them up on it, okay? Now that I'm kind of in the role where I'm taking the lead on some more classes and I'm doing some extra stuff, I'm not going to just say, come to me unless I really mean that I want you to come to me for help, okay? And then as you're going through this process for grad school, you need to figure out too where your growth areas are. Some of these examples might be studying. Do you need to, enrich those habits? Are you stuck with writing, researching? Talk to people about it, because you might not know what your growth edges are until you reach out and ask. You might not know what the hiccups are, what the problems are in your particular program or your department unless you ask people about it. Find out if you're, say you're first year going into second year, where do second year students usually have the most challenges? Ask somebody, figure that stuff out, that way you know what you're faced with. Ask your peers, ask other professionals, ask people in your program, because you need to have this information so you can move forward. And so I mentioned I'm first generation student. And so this is my second advanced degree. So I had a bachelor's, then came back and got a master's, and now I'm in a doc program. And there's just stuff that I still don't think anybody ever actually told me. And so these are some things that I wish someone had told me when I was starting either my master's or this program. No, I think most people told me this stuff now, or confirmed this stuff for me now. That's why I thought it might be important for y'all to hear. And if you haven't heard this stuff before, and you've already been here a while, or maybe you're not first gen, then cool. We're sharing some extra information for y'all. Y'all, student services fees cover so much stuff, okay? Grow, for instance, puts on these amazing programs, offers all of these extra trainings. I think almost every semester there's something on dissertation writing, research writing. It's invaluable. C's is student engagement and success. So there's a whole department which includes counseling center, health center, rec sports, all the stuff that helps students. We're all available, right? So y'all cover it with your student fees, for example. There's free software, there's labs, there's the librarian. I don't know how many times I've just gone to the chat bot at the library website and just said, I don't even know where to start. And they've given me the name of a journal or something, right? It would be important for you as you're moving towards your program to read up on the faculty, read up on someone else's research. and reach out to them if it interests you, right? And you may have done that already application to the program, but do it again. If we get more faculty, if we get new staff, new research projects, read up on it. If it's in your program, your field, something that you're interested in, and then reach out to them, okay? Peers can make a difference by helping you maintain that checks and balances. So remember when I said identify and kind of figure out what's stressing you out? Sometimes you need someone to tell you that, yeah, I know we have to read 200 pages, but you being stressed out about it is kind of okay because I'm stressed out too. Okay. GroupMe has they didn't have GroupMe back when I did my other program, but you know how many times y'all don't know, but I have often used that to check in. Is that due today or tomorrow? Especially now that we are all virtual and I don't have that face-to-face contact with my professors or my peers. It's super important to stay engaged in this in these times. And so that's a super easy way to just have a checks and balances of, am I still on point? Am I still on track? Am I overreacting? Am I not? And so they just really do a good job of that because they're going through the same things you are. So this one was really challenging for me and for some students that I've talked to as well. When someone says they have office hours that are walk-in, like open door office hours, they really mean it. Okay. Introducing yourself is not weird. So stopping by and saying, hey, my name is Anna. I'm a second-year doctoral student. I'm super interested in that research that you're doing on that topic. I just wanted to stop by and introduce myself. And that's all you got to say. Okay. Yeah, ask questions, ask for help, ask for a mentor. It's not weird. Trust me, somebody wants to work with you. Somebody is going to be interested in your thoughts and your ideas. And if you reach out, they would want to work with you. This last one, I think might be cultural for some people, or it might just be due to their experience, why this might be a challenge, but don't be afraid to be a standout, okay? Shine. This is your time, this is your place, do it. If maybe you've been the shy person before, or maybe you didn't want to take all the accolades for something, even though you know you probably did a lot of work on that, take them, do it. Shine. Because the professors, researchers, people who write grants, they don't know who they don't know. Don't be afraid to be a standout. Take advantage of that. So some more stuff that I wish people had told me. So as you're becoming or maybe you are a returning professional, or if you're an emerging professional, show up on time, do your work on time, be a strong candidate as much as you can. And I'm not saying that we're not all going to have challenges and that we can't be, that we're not, rewind. You can't be perfect all the time, right? And so things will happen and situations will rise up. But if you start off strong, show up on time, turn in your work on time, and just be consistent as much as you can. When stuff does go wrong, they're more likely to work with you. They're more likely to help you, okay? Because you're consistent, you're a strong worker, a strong candidate. And that's going to be something different for each program, right? For each department is going to be a little bit different. The pro tip that I wish somebody would have told me is ask them if you don't know how they want you to perform, or even if you don't know how to communicate with somebody. So I'm talking to another TA, Sophia. Hey, would you rather that I text you or email you when I have a question about that? Or if I have, Professor Salazar, would you rather I email you or call you when I have a question about that? They would rather you clarify than not ask questions and not get the work done and not do the communication thing, okay? This one has been a challenge for some people, and I think just recently here in the past 10 years or so, is staying connected with the trends as we move towards and into and through global professionalism. And I think that is more important now that everything is so virtual in this, kind of COVID pandemic situation, because everything's virtual now, right? And so we can reach further, we can reach more people more consistently all over the world, depending on your field. And so there's going to be trends in what professionalism looks like. And so keep an ear out for that. Keep an eye out for that. Reprioritize, right? So things that I probably wish I would have known is that it's okay to make priorities, that I can't do everything, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And advocate for yourself when you need help. It's okay to reach out and say, I'm a little overwhelmed or I don't understand this course. Can you help me? And all of this rings true for school, but also for whatever professional world you're working into, right? It's supposed to help you build those skills now and then just keep using them beyond. And I know that every field is a little bit different. There may be some more relaxed rules or different ways of communicating between each field. So I can't give you expert advice on everything, but there's somebody in your field who can. If you took this to somebody in your field and said, so what of this rings true and what of this should I really pay attention to? They could tell you. That's part of the reaching out, okay? Okay, so tools, all the tools of the trade, right? So you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what is already free. You don't know what is already open source. You don't know unless you ask or unless you look around. Hashtag not an ad, but I made this presentation in Canva and it's PowerPoint. It was for free, okay? Because I'm not gonna buy another program when I already have PowerPoint and all that stuff. But I didn't know until one of my peers told me, because I was like, oh my gosh, look how pretty your PowerPoint is. For free. You know what I mean? So, and that's just one example. That's just an example I have handy. But look to your peers. Every department, again, is going to have a different need, a different skill set that you would need to build upon. So all of these are going to be different. But take advantage of all those provided resources and opportunities. Take advantage of them now while you're in school. And then really, this is another tool. Look at the departments who might help you. So at least once a semester or once a year, log on to the Grow website, for example. Check out that calendar. Make a plan to come to a thing that you might need. If you know writing's your weak point, I think Dr. Watson's doing a dissertation camp or a dissertation writing something in a couple of weeks. There's always a couple of those every year. So if that's what you need, come check it out. Look at the Grow website. Follow them on, I think they have Facebook. Whatever social media is that you use, there's probably information on there about these resources. And ask around. You're not going to know unless you ask somebody. And if you find something brand new, pass it on. Okay, share it with your cohort members if you have a cohort, share it with your peers, share it with the TA. And if you know that it's a new resource that your department is going to need, share it with your professors too, or the GAs and the TAs, because they want to help the students too. And that also helps you building those connections and kind of being the shining star that I know y'all are. All right, so this is one, prioritizing yes and no. I should have had like a whole separate slide in between this one, because this is where when I work with students individually or even in other groups, I get the most pushback. Yes, I have to do everything on it. If I want to succeed in this program, if I want to get into that postdoc position, if I want to, you know, A, B, and C, whatever it is, I have to do everything. Really, what is everything? Okay, that's usually my answer, is really what is everything? And that, again, that varies a lot by department. It depends how they're structured, depends on what your post-graduation plans are. If you want to teach or research or whatever it is, right? So you are going to have different goals, but specify them. You can't say yes or no, and you can't say yes to do all the things or no to nothing or whatever it is if you don't know specifically what your goals are. If you're just starting out in this field, maybe you don't know that yet, but you might at least know, I want to go in this direction, or else you probably are not, you would not have signed up for the program that you're in now. Okay, so you at least know this direction that you want to go in. And some of you may have some very well thought, I got a 5-year plan, I got 3 years down, I know what I'm doing. Great. Did you write it down? Do you have it set up on a note in your phone? I have an old school paper planner, but whatever. And have you looked at what are your personal, professional, and academic goals? They might all intertwine. That's fine. okay? But did you really set out specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals? This is SMART goals. So this is something that where you really, if you've heard of this, I'm reminding you again, make sure you have a SMART goal, okay? And that you've laid it all out. If you have not heard of SMART goals, SMART, look them up, okay? There's so many worksheets, there's so many handouts that you could do. That's not what this session was going to be about, but there's so much stuff that just tells you how to break it down. Then, this is, I should put hashtag pro tip. Where do these overlap? Where can you make the most use of your time so you can prioritize yes or no? I'm not saying plagiarize yourself. That's a thing, in case you didn't know that. Don't plagiarize yourself. I'm just saying, what can you interweave or build upon as you go through your programs that's allowable that meet all of these goals? Or maybe some of the personal goals overlap with the professional goals. Maybe probably a lot of the professional academic overlap. But where can you put all that stuff together? Okay, because that will help you for the next part in deciding what to say yes and what to say no to, where you do have that leeway. And again, I'll put a little pink line right there. Varies by degree, program, and your goals. But really, before you say yes or no, evaluate what that decision is going to mean for you and do it critically. Okay. How does this align with my goals? And honestly, it's okay to sometimes say, because the department chair likes this project and I really need to be a star, and so I'm going to do this project. That's okay. Just critically evaluate it and evaluate it and make sure that it aligns with your goals, right? So that's going to be a stepping stone to get you onto the next project, to get you into the next class, to get to the next thing. That's fine, but think about it first. Don't just jump at yes for everything. Okay? I know that's a little scary for some people. It's scary for me too. You see how many roles I have? I know, I get it. But think about it critically. And really critically think about, what are the time and commitment requirements? If I need to, say, partner on a presentation or offer, like say this presentation, for example, I have a rough draft of this from another one, revamp it, retool it. It wasn't start from scratch, okay? So a couple hours, an afternoon when I wouldn't be in class, I can do that. And I love to help people, right? And it literally fits in my schedule. And so all you have to do is ask what the time commitments are. So if I got asked right now, hey, Anna, I'm really interested in your, readings on academic success. Do you want to do a research project with me? I would love to, but I can't. Like, what are the time commitments? Tell me all that stuff first before I can make a decision. So go through all of this stuff before you say yes or no. Evaluate it. How does it align with my goals? Does it align with my goals? What are the time requirements and commitments? Is it just a presentation, or is it 2 semesters worth of research, right? And then a presentation and then a manuscript maybe next year, right? So what are those time commitment requirements? So when you have to say no, no period is a sentence. Was that hard for anybody? No is a complete sentence. I know sometimes you can't say that though. Okay, so sometimes it is unrealistic to just say no, but be firm when you do have to say no. Be polite and don't reply with a tentative. Well, maybe I could if you have to say no, say no. That's a professional way. Don't ramble and don't be overly personal unless it requires you to be. And if you do need to be a little bit personal, be brief. And you can say things like this. Unfortunately, I have another presentation conflict for that timeline. No, thank you. Unfortunately, I have another presentation conflict. No, thank you. My other project's time commitments will interfere in me doing this task well. So you really want to work with this person, but you don't have the energy or the bandwidth to spread it out and add one more thing in your plate. And so I can't do that job really good. So this tells the hearer, this is someone who takes pride in their work. This is someone who wants to do a good job and has to tell me no because they can't do a good job. right? And then be firm, because sometimes what happens is, unfortunately, I have another presentation conflict for that time, and I'm afraid I'm not going to do a good job if I do this. And they might say something like, "Oh, well, then instead, could you do this other thing?" The answer was no, but you're just being brief and you're giving them some information, because sometimes you can't just say no. And I know that. That's why these examples are on here. Say you really want to do something. Let's go back. So say, yes, this project really aligns with your goals. It's going to be that next step you need for that next thing, and you're super excited about it. And you look at the time requirements and the commitment, and like, oh, you just don't have enough time to do the job well, and you have to say no. It's a bummer, right? And that might be bad for your academic career, right? So you want to say yes, but instead of saying yes to something and then being so overwhelmed that you can't function and like super stressed out and not being able to do well, you can say something like, wow, I really wish I could. I can't. I would appreciate another opportunity to collaborate if you have a project next semester, or one with a different time frame. Let's say it's somebody that you really want to work with, okay? Or maybe somebody asks you to partner in on a project and you just don't know how to do that thing, but you don't want to miss the opportunity of working in this kind of field or this project, or with this researcher, whatever it may be. That sounds exciting. Like if someone asked me to do quantitative anything for them right now, I can't do that. I'm not there yet. Remember my example? That sounds exciting. However, that does not fit in my skill set. Would you be willing to partner on, I don't know what I would partner. I don't have an example, but that's a different way of saying, like, I want to be invested with you. I'm interested in this project. It's professional. It offers some other work. It allows you to say no to the thing that you can't do for whatever reason. And normally this is where I would say, like, does this make sense? But I think we're gonna wrap up here soon in just a few minutes. Let me see how many more slides I have left. Yeah, so kind of in a wrap up, I could probably go into more detail with each one of these. But this is just an hour presentation. I want to have room for questions. I want to have room for discussion. So really try to remember this stuff, because I don't want you to just survive and get by in grad school, right? It's a challenge. Yes, it's hard. Yes, I'm tired too, and that's okay, right? Because you sit and you make these decisions and you identify what's going on, identify where you're stressed out at, what's going on with you, so you can really figure out what would be the best plan to make it better, right? Reach out and ask for help. Number two, you don't know what's going to help you. You don't know what's going to be a resource. You don't know how to achieve the goals that you need if you don't ask about them, right? Or read about them. And then remember that you can say yes to everything. You can do anything and say yes, but you really can't do everything and do everything well, okay? And take care of yourself and eat and wash laundry and work. And then maybe sometimes have a Sunday fun day. I don't know. So just kind of remembering these 3 steps hopefully will help you not just survive in grad school, but to help you kind of thrive, okay? So you can enjoy your time and invest your time in the things and the research and the reading and the projects that you really want to do, because that's why you're here, right? It's because you have plans and goals and you're invested in these areas. So this is our contact information. I do have to give a plug just for the counseling center, student services fees. Counseling, we don't charge for counseling. Come in if you think you can't figure these things out or you're really stuck on one of them. We'll meet with you. We'll talk you through it. Okay, that's what we do. We help people make decisions. We help people with stress, anxiety, depression, whatever it might be. Our website's on there, so you can find all that information. If you want to keep up to date with like other tidbits and help and stuff, we have our Instagram page for all those information. And sometimes we post Sunday fun day stuff too, but usually it's tips and tricks and things to help you. I'm going to minimize my screen or stop sharing, I guess. That way, in case we have questions or anything like that. Thank y'all for your time. And I don't know, Sophia, what do you want to do now?
Well, first of all, thank you so much. That was really awesome. Thank you. And so we're going to get into some questions here in just a second. But before, if you want to stay around for questions, I highly encourage you to do so. If not, there are a couple things. I'll be sending you an eval, so definitely let us know how we did today. We want to make sure that these virtual workshops are in a good platform and are readily available to you. So if you could just take 2 minutes to fill it out for me, that would be super awesome. Again, we have other workshops coming up. I'm going to pick some raffle winners from today. So thank you for coming, and you might have a chance to win. And don't forget to check out our social media, because that's where we post all of the fun stuff. So we do have some good questions here.
Sure.
Lori asked, and I think it's kind of in regards to counseling, is the COMPS test as hard as they say it is?
The COMPS test? Which COMPS test? The one to graduate master's, or the one?
I think so.
Well, for the master's counseling program, I have to be completely honest, that was a hot minute ago. And so I think I took COMPS in 2011. What are we now? 2000? Yeah, it was a long time ago. I remember it being super stressful. I remember thinking that, wow, I didn't study any of these things, and I overstudied this, and why is this not on my exam at all? And I think that's a fair statement for any comprehensive examination. I think you always feel overprepared or underprepared in some stuff. It was hard, but I don't remember really if it was as hard as they say it is, because that's relative. It was hard.
For sure. Absolutely. We have a question here from Jennifer. She said, thank you, great presentation and really helpful info. She said her one question is you mentioned group meets. Can you explain what that is, and if?
So GroupMe is an app on your phone, and what you can do is, I don't think it would show up if I showed it. It's an app, GROUPME, and it's a way to have chat communication without having your text. So it looks kind of like a text format, but you add people to the group. And so we just chat in there all the time, like, hey, yo, what's due? Not yo, you're still recording. Hey, what's due? That kind of stuff. We can share pictures. We often share links in there, because that's a way for us to share, like, maybe articles we're talking about or researching, or websites and stuff. So we find that super helpful. And I can mute it, which awesome. I love. At night,
and I use it too. I use it too. Yeah, if you're maybe at work one day, it's a lot. You can mute it, still go in and see all the stuff. So GroupMe is a good app for sure. We have another question from Lori, who asked, do you think it's a good idea to volunteer at the place you want to do your practicum at?
Oh, counseling specific questions. Sure, because be a shining star. It also might give you a flavor. I mean, just because we're talking about counseling specifically, it might give you a flavor for the kind of work that's done there, the kind of population, the demographic, because you may find out that you love, I don't even know where we're talking about, but I want to work with children. Oh, no, I don't want to work with children after all. So it's always a good idea if you have the time and energy and bandwidth to do that.
Awesome. Lucia, I think that's how you say your name. I'm so sorry if I'm not saying that correctly. It says, when does your COMPS test come into play? And then they mention Shiha. I'm so sorry. Thank you for the pronunciation. She said, this is definitely a question for my advisor, but maybe if you can remember the time when you took the COMPS test or anything like that.
It depends on when you're set to graduate and when you're going into either internship or internship 2. I forget which one. There have been some recent announcements on Blackboard to the CNEP program that have been spelling out the timeline, because they're changing from the in-person on-campus over to the testing center, like where you get your GRE and stuff. So if you look in the Blackboard announcements, there's been some descriptions lately on there.
Perfect. Awesome. We do have some really great comments here that say, thank you so much for all the information. They find it very helpful. So if you have any more questions, definitely put them in either the chat box or the Q&A, and we can hang on here for a second to make sure all your questions get answered. Yeah, we had a lot of great feedback. Everybody says, thank you so much. Everything was organized. Thank you. That's awesome. Had some really great positive feedback on, someone said, I liked your tip, Anna, of waking up really early to get schoolwork done so you have the evening to relax and hang out with family and friends and such.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I probably wake up too early. I'm up by 5 every morning.
Me too.
But then at the end of the day, after class, I go home and I can hang out and play Pokemon with my 8-year-old, or have a date night with my
Absolutely.
partner.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's about balance. Well, balance. Sometimes it's a little more than the other.
Avis said, thank you for the pointers. It makes me feel less alone. You're definitely not alone. We're both in grad students as well, so we definitely know the burden of, working, not working, even just a full-time student is a full-time job. So that's a lot.
By itself, a student is a full-time job. I don't want anybody in here to ever feel like I'm just a student. Stop.
Absolutely not.
Stop it. That is hard. And actually, you probably might have more responsibility saying that you're just a student, because then you feel like you have to say yes to more, and you feel like you have to do all the extra research and you have to take the lead on your group projects because I'm the only one not working right now, or I'm just a student. Stop. You're not just a student.
Absolutely. We have one here that says, how can I improve my research writing? Do you have any comments on that?
You're having one coming up. I think Dr. Watson's doing
I
one.
am. On the 16th, we're having a framing research questions session. So definitely highly encourage you to come to that. Dr. Watson is awesome and it'll be very informative. And it's on the 16th, I believe at 6 o'clock. I have my schedule up here. Wednesday, September 16th at 6 p.m. Can already go in and RSVP for that. So definitely if you have specific questions about research writing or research questions, it's going to be a really great session to attend. And again,
Dr.
just like
Watson's
all of
one of
our
our
other
professors.
sessions, all of our sessions are recorded. So if for some reason you're not able to come on at the time that they start, we'll record everything and post it on our website so everyone will have a chance to kind of view the content.
You can also strengthen your research writing by asking to do research writing. Right. So reaching out to your professors in your department, find something that you're interested, or maybe something that you're not interested in, but you just know that there's going to be a lot of writing opportunity. Reach out. Hey, I would love to partner with you on this. Is there anything way I can help you on this? Do you have anything I could write? Is there any projects that need writing? Right. Reach out, because they're going to give you that feedback.
Absolutely. Are there any other questions before we all probably go home and maybe do some homework or have a minute to unwind after a long day? Anybody? Let's see, make sure I got all of these.
I will be doing homework tonight and tomorrow. That way I can have an actual long weekend, at least half a day on Monday. Balance, balance, balance.
Exactly. Well, Anna, I want to thank you again so much. We really appreciate your time. I know you're busy, not only being a full-time staff member, but a full-time doctoral student, and I'm sure you have full-time responsibilities outside of those things as well. So thank you for taking the time out of your day for this presentation. It was super awesome and very informative. And thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. Again, if you could fill out our eval just really quick, that way we know that you enjoyed the content and we can provide more of these for you. But everyone, have a great and safe night, and we wish you the best of luck in the next coming weeks. And don't forget to check out our website for more workshops.
Good luck, y'all. Thanks. Bye. You got this.